guys, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to The Sims 4. Welcome to another speed build. We're building in Nordhaven today, and I know what you're thinking. Amanda, it took you long enough. I know. I've spoken about this before. For some reason, this pack, like my dream pack, honestly, in a lot of ways, kind of intimidated me a little bit. I think the world is so incredibly beautiful. That was a little bit intimidating. I think the idea of building a house and a business at the same time, while something I was doing a fair amount beforehand, felt really intimidating when it was like a thing to do, you know? I think there was a little bit of like decision paralysis there too, where it was like, oh my gosh, we can actually do this now. How do we use this? Kind of like when you get new art supplies and you're like, oh, they're so pretty, what do I do? You know? I think that happened a little bit. So it took me a little while to like really feel like I could build in this world, and it took me a little while to figure out what I wanted to build and what I wanted to share with y'all first. Now I have so many ideas. I don't know how they're all going to come to fruition, but they will eventually. But this is the first one I wanted to share with you. We're doing a candy shop, and the idea I kind of had behind it was there was a little factory that made, I don't actually know what they are. They're like those weird like jelly sweet thing. It was called the Applets and Cotlets factory, I think. I went when I was like, I don't even know, 8. And for those of you who live in Washington, you're probably familiar with the Applets and Cotlets candies, I guess. They're like little like squishy candies. I don't even know what they would be. Honestly, I don't know what an applet and a cotlet is. They're just like fruit treats covered in sugar. They're pretty good. They're honestly a little sweet for me, but that's beside the point. The reason I was thinking about that is I got to take a tour of a place that made them. I think it's the only place that makes them. I think applets and cotlets are like kind of a thing. I don't even remember where it was because, again, I was like 8, but I had this distinct memory of getting to walk through and watch them make it from start to finish. Also, because I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, I got to see Seattle fudge being made. And for those of you who don't know about that, it is very, very good fudge. And a lot of times they make it, or they're working on making it, in front of you. Like, they have an open kitchen. Also, because it's a port city, when you grow up in the Pacific Northwest and you grow up near Seattle, there's a lot of opportunities to see, like, taffy being made. What does this all have in common? You get to see the candy being made. You get to go and like, invest in your, like, attention into it. And then the candy is so much more delicious when you get to actually eat it. And so that was kind of the inspiration, right? Was I was like, I want this to be like a really old generational candy shop. And I want it to have the new twist of you can go in and watch the candy being made. Or maybe I didn't set it up this way, but you could even like teach candy making classes if you wanted. I don't know how that would work in The Sims because candy making is kind of, it's like a tool, I think. I don't think it's like a huge skill or anything like that. It's probably just a cooking skill, to be honest. But I set up this build. The idea behind it was it's this really old candy shop passed down from generations. If you hear tapping, I'm like emphatically tapping on my desk. Sorry, that's a thing I do in meetings too. And they have like their kitchen, and it's like a commercial industrial kitchen, but it's also set up to like do tours and things, so it's really bright and cute. And then the family lives up top. And in my head, the story I was telling was that it's like the cool aunt owns it now, and like maybe her sister or her brother or whoever moved to the city, had a kid. Kid is kind of interested maybe in like candy making or something like that, or just interested in living elsewhere, like not doing well in the city, whatever. Moves in with cool aunt. Cool aunt is running candy store. Teenager gets to help in candy store, but also gets to live in Nordhaven, right? So that was kind of the idea. Or maybe they're just doing like a summer abroad. Who knows? Like, the stories are endless here. The idea was like, I was thinking that kind of thing when I was building it. You can make it whatever you want. But I loved the idea of like the aunt or the grandmother or the family member instilling the love of candy making and the love of this business with like a younger generation of the family. So that was kind of, that's where that started. And then I really wanted the build to blend into Nordhaven, so I stole the design of a lot of other buildings in the area. I love the way this little build turns out. It looks like a lot of buildings squished together, which it seems like is really common of the world here. It's also very common of like the area of the world The Sims of the real world that The Sims based this world off of. The little like, I've heard people call them row houses. I've called them row houses, and then recently I was told that's not a nice phrase, so I apologize if row houses mean something different than my understanding is. But that was kind of the idea here. It made for a really interesting layout because I didn't want them to be all like flat-faced next to each other, but I didn't want them to be too small. I didn't want a situation where they were super skinny like I did with the townhouses. I'm not mad at the townhouses, I just wanted to do something different, you know? And then I really wanted like a puffed out side building and a little outdoor bit. It took a while to get there. And like, I don't know if you saw me fussing with the windows for forever here. Don't worry, there's more window fussing to come. Oh my goodness, you guys, I think I moved the windows. So this build took, so you're seeing, this is going to be a two-parter. I'm sorry, spoiler alert. You're going to see overall across the two parts about an hour of footage, right? I have 15 hours of footage. It took me so long to work this build out. It took me so long to figure it out. It started coming together nicely, and then it turned into that, like, it has to be perfect because it's coming together. This build hit Insecurity City, like, several times, but I had so much fun with it, too. There are a few things looking at it now, because I've been away from this build for, like, I think I finished it, like, 2 weeks ago? No, it couldn't have been. I'd have to think about it. I finished it a few days ago at the minimum because I've been working on it in fits and starts. And looking at it now, kind of being away from it for a little bit, I'm like, there's a couple things I could do differently with the floor plan, things like that, but it's not like a huge deal. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm really excited about all of the different spaces and getting them all laid out. I've seen some bugs with actually like, what's the word I'm looking for? Marking the areas as like public and employee and personal. So I don't think when you get it off the gallery, it's probably going to be marked properly, just as a heads up. But we'll talk through where each individual space is, and you'll be able to tell. So it's not that big a deal. For this part, this first part here, we're going to be primarily focused on the downstairs, which is like the business area. We jump back and forth a little bit because I'm me and I can't possibly just work on one part of the build at once. But we start with like the candy counter area, and then like I made like a little shop area because I imagined you could also sell like ice cream and stuff if you wanted to, and I think there's actually ice cream containers in the kitchen. And I made a little shop area because the little doodly doo that I put in for like the like selling counter, the like, what would you call it, cash register counter, that is actually like a cafe object. So your Sims can order like coffee and stuff and sit down and so there's like a little bit of like a cafe vibe to it. There's like some tables and stuff and some tables outside because like really if I was running a candy shop I would also sell coffee and like other treats because like if you're gonna eat taffy you're gonna, you know, that kind of thing, or like hot chocolate would make sense, you know, that kind of thing. So there's a little bit of a cafe area. There's a little like store area kind of tucked in the building with all of the windows, the pink part. I was imagining you could put your candy on there to sell, or you could have another local artisan sell, or if like you wanted to run multiple businesses out of this, maybe your sim upstairs, there's an art area. You'll see it probably in the second part, I think. Although I think I lay everything out in this part. I can't remember how I cut the footage together now. It'll be an adventure for both of us. Again, 15 hours of footage, dude, delirium. Anywho's and ways. Because there's a place for art to be done, you could also have another sim like make pottery or paintings and sell those like, you could have multiple businesses going if you really wanted to. I think you can only have one open at a time, but like the role play is gonna be fine either way because the cafe object will work and stuff. So there's lots of options here. I put out lots of little candy makers because if you wanted to set this up as like a teachable moment, you could. I didn't, but these cabinets here are not usable, so that is where I would stick a board. I didn't stick a board because that wasn't really the vibe I was going for. But I made sure there was a way to stick a board, and I'm reasonably certain if you took those tall cabinets out on the side by the stairs, you could put a board in there, one of the whiteboards, and turn it into a teaching moment and make candy. If you can teach candy. At the very least, you could teach cooking, or maybe baking. Like, you could maybe do, like, what is it? The cupcakes can be made in the ovens now. I think you might actually have to put an oven in there, too, because, again, the candy maker is, like, its own dude. But there's options. The point is like it doesn't have to be a candy shop if you don't want it to be. It could be a lot of other things. It could be multiple different shops. There's also outdoor seating, so you could do gardening classes if you really wanted to. You could change this whole thing into a greenhouse. That's a build I want to do. I want to do like a garden shop. I think that'd be so fun. Oh, a little flower shop. It'd be amazing with a little apartment over the top. I'm already envisioning it. Anywho's, here we're just laying out the apartment upstairs because I wanted to make sure I could get everything in that I wanted to get in. So kind of ignore what's happening here. I'm kind of like looking for a vibe a little bit to kind of just build off of for like downstairs and stuff. But don't stress about what you're seeing here. This completely changes. This is me more or less, again, just trying to make sure things fit, trying to get like the vibe right, trying to get like the ideas worked out here. Make sure, like I said, everything fits. I have a bad habit, especially lately, of building these really cute little houses and then realizing there's like no space for anything. So I'm trying to get in the habit of like just laying out everything in like whatever furniture I grab first. It doesn't have to match. It doesn't have to look good. Just make sure everything fits, you know? Make sure my sim can actually have a dining room. Make sure my sim can actually have like an art space if they want. Here's where I think I could do something a little bit different. Where this desk and this little art space is going to be, I think I could probably shrink the art space up quite a bit and put a bathroom in and get a second full bath instead of this. This apartment has 2 bedrooms and 1.5 baths. For those of you who aren't familiar with the half bath idea, I don't know if that's just an American thing or if that's like a worldwide thing. The phrase half bath means it doesn't have a shower and or tub. There's no way to bathe yourself. It's a powder room, or I've heard them called wash closets before. It's just a toilet and a sink. So this is 1.5 baths, meaning 1 bath has a shower tub combo in it, and 1 bathroom is just the toilet and the sink. This bathroom up here is the full bath here. And yeah, I believe we stick with the shower tub combo, but that'll probably come in the next video here. We're just, again, laying it out. And I'm so excited for you to see this little upstairs space. I don't want to spoil it, but I think it's possibly one of the cutest things I've ever done. I'm a little biased. These little roof doodly-doos, they kicked my tail. They wanted to move all over the place. They had no interest in staying where I put them. So if you pull this off the gallery, I haven't tried pulling it off the gallery yet. I'm a little scared too, to be honest with you. If you pull this off the gallery, and all of those little doodly-doos have moved, Godspeed, dude. I have no idea. I have no idea. This part of the build here where we're laying things out, we had just gotten that bed, which is the pride bed. So that should tell you how long it took me to get brave enough to start laying things out, because the first part I did like 3 days after the back came out. Here we're getting into the kitchen part. I was really excited to start working here. I had this idea of like demure pastel Willy Wonka. I was like, if they're gonna have tours in here, we're like, you know, a tour guide comes in and is like, and this is where they make the candy, and this is where they pull the taffy, and this is where they make the fudge, and all of that. And people were in here working. I wanted it to be a fully functional kitchen. Although, having said that, fully functional is a little iffy because I cannot remember if I actually put everything you would need to make this a full kitchen. There's a full kitchen upstairs where you live, but I think I set this up predominantly to just be using the candy maker. Again, easily modifiable, because look at all the cabinet space. Like, you could, where those big cabinets are, put fridges. Where all these cabinets are, these lower cabinets are, you could totally put like a stove in. Lots of options here. But I was predominantly thinking, oh, maybe I do put an oven in. Look at me go. Anywho's and ways, I was focused on the candy making. But I wanted everything to be really cute and pastel. I wanted it to look industrial because I liked I do put fridges in. That's right. I put the fancy ones in. I remember now. It's an adventure watching these back sometimes. Again, I did this kitchen quite a while ago. I think the date on this one was like April 1st on this little bit of footage. I wanted it to be cute though. So that's why the green tile. That's why the white tile is still like, I wanted to show that it was clean and neat and obviously a certified like Importante kitchen. But the green is like really adorable. There's going to be some plants in here which would so not pass muster in real life, but that's fine. I put some things out. That's one of those milk cartons from the event that happened recently, the Blast from the Past event. So it's actually got like a missing person on it, but I thought it was just cute to have like milk out. I put a ton of clutter around because I wanted it to look like a working kitchen. Again, you're gonna have to modify for your needs. This could really easily be a restaurant too. I'm reasonably certain you could turn this into a dine out situation. Dine out's a little bit buggy, so Godspeed with that, but you could. And I'm looking at this now, I'm watching this back, wishing so badly that we had the kitchen clutter kit when I was building this, because think about all of the cool stuff we could put in this kitchen. Oh, if I had just waited. But honestly, if we had just waited, you wouldn't be seeing it now. So, you know, maybe we need to come back and do a retrofit of this at some point. That'd be really fun. I have some builds I'm excited about with the kitchen clutter kit coming up too. I don't know how soon you'll see those because I have a trip coming up. It is a fancy big kid business trip that I am like really stressed over. And I'm trying to like pre-record for. Okay, hear me out. So I know that those are tattoo ink bottles. I recognize that. We are going to pretend that those are like frosting or melted chocolate or like piping bags, right? In general, like you can put all kinds of stuff in piping bags. We're just gonna suspend our disbelief and pretend that they were like colored frostings. Like, would a professional kitchen buy like the pre-done tubes of like Wilton's chocolate frosting stuff? No, probably not. But we're gonna pretend because it looked cute, and I was like pushing my luck a little bit with some of the clutter anyway. Because again, this was pre-kitchen clutter. Now, I don't think it'd be quite such a problem. Although I will say we have a lot of good kitchen clutter. It's just a matter of finding it and utilizing it. And like remembering it's there, and then getting it to slot is honestly like a thing, because there were some cool things that I was like, I'm not fighting with this to slot on the shelves, because it can be a little bit of a fight. But yes, I love the way this kitchen turned out. It is like kind of crazy, but in what I think is a really good way. And I'm aware like some of this is perfume bottles and stuff, but it's a candy store. You know, they'd have like what do you call them, like the essences things? You know what I'm talking about, like extracts. There we go. Essences, oh lord, no, extracts like almond and vanilla and stuff. So we're just pretending those are those. And again, we're just pretending these are frostings because we can, and we're just going to. You know, it happens. It doesn't hurt nobody. We're good. I do get rid of that shelf eventually. Although I think it hangs out for quite a while. I think I forget about it and it hangs out for like a hot minute, but we get dealt with. Also, at one point I was cracking up. This build was like entirely done and I had like moved it slightly or something and it looked really great. And then I was looking at the screenshots and I was like, there is totally a light just hanging out in the middle of nowhere. So I will fix that before it's up on the gallery, but just know that in some of the screenshots there's like a little bit of a light situation. Put the aprons down. There's the plant I was talking about over the fire system. It is a fancy fire system because like it's an industrial kitchen. The plant would so not fly, I don't think. And then you're gonna see me here in a minute put some stuff on top of the fridges. I don't think that would actually fly either in an industrial kitchen, but we're gonna ignore it because it's cute. And it's The Sims, and they don't have inspectors, so you know. I really love the little lighting situation here. I tried to put lighting over each of the windows so that it like looked super cute. And so the workstations were lit up, and then I put some industrial lighting over the top. So this is another thing where we have to suspend our disbelief a little bit. Yes, they are diapers. But if you squint and you close one eye and maybe close the other eye, doesn't it kind of look like popcorn bags? Or wait for it, candy bags? Maybe. Maybe if you think about it just a little bit. Maybe. Stick with me here. We had to get a little creative. I think you could maybe pretend in a perfect world that those were like candy bags. Or like wrappers, you know. So I went ahead and yeah, we're just gonna pretend they're not diapers. It's fine. And then again, this is another thing that absolutely would not fly. Food on the floor, no sir. But it's cute, so we ignore. Some cute little bottles for hand washing because safety first. You know, if you're gonna pick the food up off the floor, at least do it with clean hands. Lots of different chef's knives because we're cutting all kinds of candy here. Old plank flooring because it's a very old building and a very old family that does very old candy techniques. Quite the tourist destination, if you will. I love these little lights. This whole area takes so long to figure out. I loved the idea of the lights being like a little bit of a feature. But the space ended up feeling really tight. And it looks a little bit sparse because I obviously left things open so you can make candy and put candy out here or make whatever you want. Cakes, cupcakes, cookies, ice cream, you know, whatever you want out here. So things are a little bit sparse, but I did put some things on the shelves that like wouldn't be for sale to kind of decorate a little bit so you'd have to place around them. At first I went with this wallpaper and I still love it. Like I love this vibe. I was going for a little bit more of like a I keep wanting to say Willy Wonka, but that's not really the vibe, but like an old candy shop at first, like kind of Magic Dreams and, you know, that kind of thing. And we do kind of go with that vibe, but then I decided like I couldn't find a matching wallpaper or something that like a complimentary one that worked with this. It was like a little bright and a little pink, and as I was sitting there I was just like, you know, this is close. And this does have, there's like a moment here that I want to create, but I can't get the vibes on it yet. So I ended up changing it more to what I was like originally thinking, which is like a little bit older. So we'll change out the wallpaper to still be something fun, but like a little bit more like 1800s fun, maybe would be the way to phrase it. Instead of like this little bit more like art. Well, this is bad phrasing. This feels more Art Deco. This is not what we're going for. I do love it though, and I think this would be a really fun thing to put like in a little Parisian cafe, which is another thing I'm thinking about making. So if you see this kind of design concept with the dark woods and the pink, mind your business. It might be coming up in a cafe here soon. But we do end up changing things just a little bit. Actually, we might even keep this wallpaper somewhere else in the cafe, but I do believe we changed the wallpaper slightly to be something more stripy. And then we put some cute stuff on the wall. I end up moving this off to an angle to give us more space, and that is completely unnecessary. No one's going to use that seat, or it's going to be used for nefarious sim reasons like pathing, but I liked the idea of your employee being able to pull up a stool and sit if they wanted to. I didn't want them to be on their feet all day, so I put a stool back there so that they could do that. Are they going to? No. Is that a feature of The Sims? Absolutely not. But like, I liked the storytelling aspect of it. I liked the ethical workplace like idea of it. See, here's what I'm talking about with just like a couple of the bits and bobs here to just make sure there's always something on your shelves, if you don't get them stocked, or if you choose to not like stock them that way. See, this is where I was trying to figure out. I wanted like a complimentary wallpaper in there, and I just couldn't quite get there. I think in like real life you won't see that, but I think in real life I actually ended up walking away from this and coming back to get like the final design, because I also ended up changing the tables and stuff. It took a little while. It took a bit. And I did put bookshelves in here. You could argue that was a dumb choice. I would argue that, like, if you're a 100-year-old candy store, you are probably, like, you're, like, collaborating with other businesses around. Like, you're gonna have local artisans in your shop. You're gonna have, like, different selling options and stuff. Like, the candy store in my town has, like, magnets and books and, like, little artist tables and stuff. And a full cafe where you can get like sandwiches and treats and stuff. Oh, they have the best mint chocolate ever. And really good French dip. So my favorite thing to do is to go splurge a little bit and get the French dip with the soda pop, and then go in and get like way too much mint chocolate. Also, in the summertime, they have chocolate bacon, which is exactly what it sounds like. It is bacon dipped in chocolate. Oh my lord. It doesn't sound good, but it is so good. It is so good. Yeah, here we go. Here's where we're adding a little bit more of like the like old school stripes. Give it a second, it'll stick. And then I move those up to make them match with the B-board a little bit. It is white molding with dark windows. I think it's fine. I think it's fine enough. And I liked the colors here. I liked that it still screamed like Happy Jolly Place, but it had a little bit more of that like old vibe. It's a little more dated. Yeah, it's like a little, there's like a word here that I'm grasping desperately for that I can't figure out, but in essence, I dated the place just a little bit more. Still couldn't decide on the wallpaper in here. I think I actually do end up leaving it that new pretty floral wallpaper, but I cannot remember, to be honest with you, what I end up doing in here. Maybe I do stripes. Maybe I do the pink stripes. The pink stripes seem to ring a bell. Just again, a little bit of an older wallpaper look. And I like the idea too that now you've seen this, if you choose to play in this, maybe your sim can come in and update it. You know, maybe your sim comes in and takes over the family business, and it's like, this is great, but like, he's old in here. You know, but I didn't want not maintained. You know, like, you know that like old but like well loved that like Disney does? You know, or like theme parks do, where they're like, this is old by design, not by age. That was kind of what we were going for, except this would also be old by age because your sim is obviously inheriting it from family. In the story I'm telling, I guess your sim could do like whatever they want, you know, and you could choose to like raise the whole thing and just keep the shell, or, you know, whatever you wanted to do. There are lots of options here. I've seen some people do like these really modern additions. That would be really cool in this building. Like if your sim bought this building and then maybe did a jet out on the back of like a really modern greenhouse or something like that, or did like a really cool cantilevered second story or something like that. I could see that happening. On the lot that I have it situated on, there's not like a ton of room to do that, but if you place this on a bigger lot, there is a ton of spaces where you could do like a really like industrial modern expansion and turn this into something really cool. It's big enough you could also like not even bother with business and say like, oh, my sim just bought like a whole row of townhouses, and is turning it into a mansion in the city. You could play like that idea. I've seen people like do that in real life where they buy like 2 townhouses next to each other, and then like depending on who that you get them from and how your whole like whether you're renting or owning or whatever, turn them into one big thing. You could play that sort of story in here. You could like take everything out of it and make it super run down and make it like got the whole row on a good deal and now have to fix it up. We have a fair amount of things to do that. I will warn you, this particular build, well, most of my builds, let's be honest here, uses about 1 million packs. I am really sorry about that. I think I owe you all a base game here soon. A base game build, because I've been going a little crazy with the packs. I've been kind of thinking about doing like a bunch of builds where they're like base game builds in the base game world, and then like cats and dogs builds in the cats and dogs world where it's like limited pack. I thought that would be kind of fun. I just haven't like gotten around to like thinking about getting that in the brain to do it, if that makes sense. Okay, side note, I loved this pattern of curtain with this wallpaper. I can't remember if I keep it or not because it looked weird in the middle windows, but just let's file that away in our brain places for like a different build, because that was cute. That was super cute. Here I'm upstairs a little bit. We're gonna end here soon because most of the apartment is in the second part, but we're doing the employees space. So there's a little half bath downstairs, like a little powder room downstairs in the cafe. That'll be for the patrons. There's a toilet and a sink so they can get a little less smelly and use the restroom, because I'm finding they like to come and wet themselves on your lot. The Sims do. I don't know why. But up here there is also a half bath and a space specifically for your employees. You could open it to guests if you wanted them upstairs, but I was thinking this area would be specifically for your employees so that they had a place so that your employees weren't miserable waiting for the bathroom. There's a bathroom up here. I put some lockers. It took forever to pick them, but I wanted like a place for them to put their stuff where they felt safe. You can see me fighting for my life with these lockers. I wanted the skinny ones, but I wanted the skinny ones in a 3-pack, and I didn't have that option, so I just it took a minute. I put up a board where I thought, employees could like put up things they're interested in or share ideas, or you could put up different like notices of town. I put a vending machine in so that your sim could like, get the basics if they wanted. I mean, you could kind of get the basics elsewhere, but like your employee could grab a snack if they wanted to. If I was the employer, it also wouldn't charge. It would just be like you hit the button and it gives. You can like unlock them that way. A little seating area with some fun chairs. I just thought it'd be fun. And then I put that in there. It's like a little file doohickey. I thought it was kind of nice because like realistically you have to have paperwork for a business. And I was like, if you need like employee handbooks or whatever, that would be a good place to just have it where your employees know where it's at. More hooks for like aprons and things, and just kind of a place to chill out for your employees if they need a minute, because your employees are Sims too and they need, they need attention. So here are the screenshots. That's the first part. Next upload, or whenever I get the next part up, we'll see the apartment. And I'm really excited to show y'all the apartment. I think it turned out really cool. But I hope you guys liked this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Some screenshots here are maybe a little bit of spoilers. Here you can see the outside. We do that at the end, but don't worry about it. It's pretty cute. I really am proud of this build. I can't wait to show y'all part 2, but I think I'm going to stop yapping at you now. Yeah, I hope you're having a good day and you're feeling loved. And if you're not feeling loved, please know that I love you. I'm glad you're here hanging out. You make the world a better place just by being you. The part 2 of this should be up soon. I don't know if it'll be in the next build or the next video, I guess, for y'all, or if it'll be like the one after that, but it'll be up soon. I promise. I have it recorded. I just have to like chat with y'all about it. But anyways, I think that's all for me. Okay, love you. Bye. Mwah.